Hello and welcome. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. I'm Smriti Chaudhary and with me is Profit on NDTV Profit. I'm Smriti Chaudhary and with me is Alex Mathew. And this show is all about your stock-related queries. So write to us on any of our social media channels or on the WhatsApp number that will be on your screen in just a minute. And you can also write to us to the YouTube live chat, and we'll definitely try and take your questions from there as well. Write to us your short-term or even long-term queries, and we'll get them answered by our guests. But before that, let's take a quick check of the markets. You have the Nifty 50 pretty much flat in trade right now, but with a positive bias there. Let's pull up the contributors of the Nifty 50. There's not too much happening at this point on the benchmark, at least. Up about 0.1% higher. RIL, Kotak Mahindra Bank, HDFC are the big contributors to the index. On the other hand, you have Mahindra and Mahindra, Bajaj Finance and Sun Pharma that are dragging in trade. On the broader end of the spectrum, you have the Nifty Mid-Cap Index that's up about 0.7%, doing much better than what the benchmark is doing. Small Cap Index also up about 0.8% higher, so much more action in the broader at the broader end of the spectrum. Let's look at the sectors as well, and you have something like a Nifty Pharma, Healthcare, Consumption, IT, Auto, all dragging in trade, all others doing well. Metal specifically standing out, up about 2%, followed by, you have oil and gas as well, that's up about 1%. However, the focus for today is CE Infosystems, also popularly known as MapmyIndia. It's logged in upper circuit right now, 20% higher, and this comes on the back of a Goldman Sachs note. And to talk about that, I'm joined by my colleague Rucha. Rucha, what is the rationale? Rucha will be talking to us about Goldman Sachs note, and while it's they've given a buy rating, they've also given a target price. Rucha, tell us what the target price is and what's the rationale behind it.
Thanks, Smriti. So Goldman Sachs have initiated a buy with a target price of 2,800. Now this implies an upside of 27% from the current levels. Now the brokerage house believes that this company could benefit from early leadership in the automotive navigation space and the mapping devices and the connected vehicles as well. The brokerage house also believes that the company has 80% market share in the auto OEM space. Now talking about the numbers, the revenue forecasted by the brokerage house is 38% till FY27, and while the margins is forecasted around 38% to 41%, which is led by the IoT-led business. Now, this IoT-led business offers more revenue opportunity for high margin mapping. Now, because of the strong software backbone, this company is less capital intensive and it is supported by a ROE of 28% by FY27. Now, talking about the valuation, the target price of 2,800 bakes in 50 times PE, while the current PE at which the company is trading is at 53 times, in line with its own history.
All right. Rucha, thanks so much for getting us those details. 39% upside. Of course, that doesn't necessarily take into account what's happening in trade today. But by the way, the management spoke to NDTV Profit just a short while back, and that entire conversation is available on all of our social media platforms, and you should catch that on YouTube in particular. So, and of course, let us know what you think about that conversation. Let me get our experts on for today. We've got Ashish Maheshwari, Director of Arihant Capital, as well as Osho Krishnan, who is the Senior Research Analyst, Technical and Derivatives at Angel One. Thank you so much, Osho, as well as Ashish, for taking the time and for joining us as always. Let's first talk about the company that we're speaking about, which is CE Infosystems. Ashish, what do you make of this? And do you think that it has the kind of potential that is being laid out, that 39% upside?
Yes, I'm expecting good revenue growth in this company. From 380 crore, now management is talking of 1,000 crore in next 3 years. So compounded growth 35% plus is going to come. And it is on the back seat of two things. One is, if you see nowadays, every car is having navigation system. So typically this will be an integral part of their mapping solutions, and the 3D, 4D mapping solutions are going to be integral part of any four-wheeler. along with this IoT-based solution and security solution, what this company, the digital access and other thing, what they are offering is also getting a lot of traction. And we have seen year over year also from last year from 100 crore, they reached to 135 crore PAT. And I'm expecting in next 3 years, PAT is going to be also doubled from here. So though at 13,000 crore valuation looks slightly stretched at present, but for long run, company look quite promising.
All right. On that note, let's jump straight into the queries that we have today. And we got several of them. Just in case you're tuning in for the first time, that number that you see on your screen, that is where you can send your messages to us. The first one.
Also, we spoke to the management of CE
I did tell them that, though. I told them
so
it's
do
available.
check it out.
Yeah.
It was a very insightful conversation that my colleague Harsh had. Let's start off with the queries.
So the first one is coming in from Srinath. He's asking a question. He's writing in from Andhra Pradesh, and he's asking about Yes Bank, which he's bought at levels of 18 rupees. He's got about 1,000 shares, and he's asking whether he should keep them or sell them. The stock is trading at 24, and he's therefore in a profit. Osho, what's the view on the charts?
Very good morning, Alex. Well, Yes Bank, definitely if someone is having around the zone of 18 and currently it is hovering around the zone of 24, 25, so that's a very decent profit in the counter like Yes Bank. But overall, the sentiments for this counter is approximately a very hover within a range. So approximately on the lower end, the support lies around the zone of 21. So that should be kept as a very strong stop loss. If it breaches below that, then again 18-16 zone can be tested in this counter. While on the higher end, 27 to 28 is the resistance zone. So once it reaches that zone, one should try to again book their profits and again re-accumulate the counter in the zone of 22 to 24. So overall, it is in a very consolidation zone. One should try to buy the dips and sell on the rise.
Right, fair point. The next question is on Andhra Sugar. This one's from D. Mazumdar, who's writing in from Odisha. Now, the question here is that they have bought the shares at a price of 178 for more than 2 years. That's the time horizon that they have. Ashish, would you have coverage on this counter?
See, this is again a stock which is in very narrow range. If you see in 20 rupees, this has just passed 1 year. So I think these kind of stocks move whenever there is any positive news is around the sugar sector. But there's no bull run as far as the sugar sector is concerned, in my view, because again, things are quite government controlled here. So the prices will can't keep on just rising, and these sugar companies can keep taking benefit out of it. So my suggestion will be to book gains from this stock if you are having. At the same time, I'm not that bullish as far as sugar sector is concerned, except maybe Balrampur Chini or Bajaj Hindustan, which are leader in this pack. But these kind of players, I think we should avoid.
So would you suggest switching? Because that's also the question that they're in a loss in this counter. So would you suggest switching to a Balrampur Chini rather than Andhra Sugar?
Yes. Okay. This will be a prudent move.
Okay. Short-term question coming in from Subramanian. He's writing in from Chennai and he's asking about Federal Bank. He's wondering whether to buy for short-term gains. What's the view, Osho?
See, overall, Federal Bank is looking very positive to me. It has given a breakout around the zone of 165, 164 odd levels. But currently, on technical developments, the counter has already moved towards the overbought territory. So one should not be very much aggressive on the targets. But if he is holding the position, then 180 and 190 is the resistance zone. One should try to book their profits around the same. And on the lower end, 165 again, if it comes, then one should try to reaccumulate only for short term. If the horizon is for long term, then keep holding this counter. This will be having a 250 plus kind of a target for long-term period.
All right. The next counter is KR Rail Engineering. Osho, coming back to you on this one. This is from Srinivas Rao. They say they bought the counter at a price of 511, so slightly elevated levels. The stock has done nothing in the last 1 year. It's in fact down about 10%. Would you suggest holding this counter for a bit more?
See, there are various other counters which are looking very lucrative even at current levels. So better to switch for some counters which have outperformed the market and have the scope to even outperform in the near medium term perspective. So better to switch to other companies like Texrail, even RVNL, IRCTC. These kind of counters has immense potential and can give better returns as compared to this counter.
Okay. Let's take the next one. It is actually, so this is a portfolio question, but I've requested Menak from Kolkata to reduce the number of stocks that he wants to know about, and he's kindly agreed to do that. I'm coming back to you, Osho, on this one. Adani Power he wants to know about, and Bharat Electronics. He has bought into both. Adani Power he has bought at levels of 750 and Bharat Electronics at 287.84. His time frame is 1 year. Should he hold on to both or should he exit?
He should hold to both the counters, because even on technical and even I guess the fundamentals should also be aligned with the view. So I'm expecting that the outrun or the cycle of higher highs should be continued in both the counters. For Adani Power, yes, looking at the recent developments in the power sector, it is expected to move on the higher scale. So I expect near about 850 to 900 kind of a target from medium to long-term perspective. And the Bharat Electronics is also very positive. So one should definitely try to hold both the counters in their portfolio for long-term period.
Right, fair point. Next question is on Suzlon, and this one's from Nageshwar Rao, who's writing in from Visakhapatnam. Ashish, coming to you on this one, the question is, should you invest in Suzlon? Now, we've seen a bit of a run-up in this counter. It's up 3% today as well. Would you suggest, I mean, of course, if you look at the policy, the government policies, they do look quite positive for the sector, but would you suggest buying at this juncture?
It is again a stock which has given a 300% kind of return in this particular year. If you see 50-week close were 13-14 and the 52-week high is around 52. So only thing is, as far as fundamentals are concerned, they are improving month over month in this company. They are getting new orders also. But only thing is, as stock is almost at 52-week high. So this is sometimes good for trading and not for investing. So my suggestion will be to wait for some correction, because I think in within period of last 1 month, it has moved up from 40 to 43 to 50 levels. So 40 to 43 might be good level to enter into Suzlon, but you need to have a long-term view in Suzlon. Then maybe in 3 years, it can go even 3 digits.
Interesting. Just a follow-up to that, Ashish, we saw the cabinet decision yesterday on offshore wind power, and so far we've not seen too many takers for offshore projects, but then with the viability gap funding, one would assume that it becomes more lucrative. Is this something that you think Suzlon will benefit from? If you think so, would you also talk about other companies that could stand to benefit?
Yeah, certainly there's a positive move that viability gap funding will make those projects attractive. But only my submission is, when in India itself you are having ample opportunities to make money, whether it's wind or solar projects and renewable side, until unless these PSU companies take a investment call, I am afraid that many private sector players are going to invest in offshore asset like this in spite of viability gap funding. So in my view, this is a policy move and maybe good for long run, but in short term, I don't think so. It will have major impact on any independent power producer.
The next counter is Microns Technology.
20 microns.
20 microns. Okay, the counter is 20 microns. This one's from Raju, who's writing in from Andhra Pradesh. Osho, they bought the counter at a price of 150 rupees. Considerable profit there. Would you suggest booking profits or wait for a little bit?
See, overall, this counter is on the verge of giving a very strong breakout. So it has been forming a rounding bottom, or it's not a bottom, but it has formed a rounding base for itself near the zone of 140 towards 185, 90 odd levels. And 185 to 90 is still a very strong resistance, which was seen approximately in the year of 2023. So I expect that once it breaches the zone of 190, 95, then there is a very strong scope for this counter to move towards the zone of 240 to 250 in the medium term perspective, let's say 6 to 5 odd months. So obviously one should try to hold this counter with a strict stop loss around 175 or 172 to be on the safer side, that if it does not give a breakout, then it might be better to exit from the position, keeping a stop loss of 172. But I expect that it should give a very strong breakout for a target of nearly 240.50.
All right. We have to slip into a very quick break. Osho as well as Ashish, do stay with us. Viewers will be back very quickly to take more of your questions, so do stay tuned. All right, welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit, and the next question is coming in from Mathew from Gwalior. Mathew wants to know about InvITs and REITs. Ashish, this one's an interesting question because Mathew's bought into IRB Infra as well as PG Infra, InvIT and Embassy and Brookfield both. The prices are also mentioned, but I'm curious what you think about holding all four. I would assume that this is part of a broader portfolio. What is your view on these four?
Yeah, I think all these REITs are performing well. As such, if you see the performance, IRB REIT also and other REITs also doing well. Maybe Embassy Office REIT is you have not taken into consideration at 350 odd levels. That is also a good REIT to invest. So in my view, REIT are particularly for the investors who are looking for a steady set of return and having long-term view. So nothing for traders, but long run, they will continue to perform because they have consistent cash flow income. And once this is embedded in stock price, they move gradually up. So I'm always in big favor of investing in REIT and can continue to remain invested.
All right, fair point. Ashish, the next counter is Vodafone. This one's from Muthu Lakshmi. The question is, should you buy? Now, it's trading currently close to 16 rupees, which is much higher than the FPO price of 11 rupees. So there's a considerable profit for those who bought at the time of the FPO. But would you suggest buying at this juncture? Are you seeing any kind of upside in the long run, of course?
Yeah, Vodafone Idea is only stock for long-term investors. One thing that after raising money and liquidating their other assets, etc., now it is settled.
Having a bit of an issue with Ashish's feed. Ashish, if you can hear me and if we have you with us, the point that you were making on Vodafone Idea? Okay, so let's try and get that feedback. In the meanwhile, let me go to the next question. Debashish is asking about Midhani, and he's looking for both a short-term as well as a long-term view, but I will take a question to you, Osho, on this one based on the charts. He's got 100 shares, but he's not told us what level he's bought at. What would you give as guidance for this particular counter?
See, overall, Midhani has given a very tremendous returns in the last few trading years, but overall, this counter has been into a very consolidation zone in a shorter duration. So if the time horizon is from medium-term perspective, then one should definitely try to hold this counter. I expect 540, which was the recent high. It should be very, very well reached in the short-term period. And after that, I expect 600 should be the target that one can expect from long-term perspective. So overall, this counter looks very good. It will be having a gradual up move. It's not very aggressive on the movement side, but overall, the returns are quite good in this counter from even for short-term and for long-term perspective.
Osho, the next one is Paramount Communication. The question is from Joseph. They say that is it the right time to buy the counter considering it's been consolidating for a while?
See, overall, this counter has seen a very strong move, but after that, there has been a very decent dip that it has undergone to from 110 plus levels towards the zone of 70, 75 odd levels. So I expect the traction has been lost in this counter. But once there will be a very strong movement toward, above the zone of 85, then there might be a possibility that again it will gain some strong traction. So better to wait for a decent breakout in this counter. Currently, it is hovering in a very symmetrical triangle pattern on a daily time frame. So breakout will come approximately near 82 and 85 odd levels. Once it happens, then one should definitely try to accumulate for higher target of nearly 100 to 110.
Okay, Dreamfolks is the next counter, Osho, that we're talking about. It's currently trading up about 1% today at 484 or thereabouts. And we've got a viewer, Ashish, who's bought at levels of 507. What's the view on the charts? When can it recover that buy price? And what are the prospects? What are the key levels to watch?
See, overall technical parameters are not very much favor in the favor of bulls, but overall it is at a very lower band of the consolidation zone. 480, 470 is a very strong support base, and it has recouped from even lower levels of 440 in the recent period. But I expect 480 is a very decent zone for this counter, not very much aggressive on the targets, but it has the potential to retest the zone of 520 in the short-term perspective. So better to get exit above the cost that he has invested, and again can look for switching in other counters.
All right, we have Ashish back on the show. Ashish, you were talking about Vodafone Idea. Good time to buy Vodafone Idea from a longer term perspective.
Yeah, I think the fortunes have changed of this company when they raised money by IPO, and subsequently they have sold their stake in Idea, this Indus Tower also. So now they are able to raise fresh capital, because when promoters will pump in money and the equity will come, certainly they are going to raise debt freely. And another thing, whatever the money they are going to raise will fund their 5G expansion. So they'll surely able to give tough fight to Jio and Airtel over a period of time. So only thing is, as the stock has moved quite fast from 14, 15 to 17, I'll suggest to wait for 16 rupees to come, and then you can invest further in this stock. My target for next 3 years is 30 rupees in Vodafone Idea.
30 rupees, so doubler in 3 years. That's not too bad if you think about it. But I guess to a certain extent you've gotten spoilt by a few moves that you've seen over the last year. Having said that, the next question is from Motihari in Bihar. It's from Shri Kishore, and he's asking about Azad Engineering. He's bought shares of Azad Engineering at prices of 524 in IPO. And the question is to you, Ashish, would you hold on to this or would you exit?
So I'll recommend to remain invested, because though it is a 4 times stock, but the way we have seen the block deals and the big names coming in Azad Engineering, this is the stock which has a great potential to even touch to 2,500 to 3,000 mark. So it's still available at 11,000 crore market cap, and the way traction is there in defense and other allied sector, this company will continue to do well. So remain invested.
All right, the next counter is UPL. The question is from Akib Javed, who's writing in from Jharkhand. They bought the counter at a price of 548 rupees. Ashish, for a UPL, for the fourth quarter, while the results weren't as great, the commentary seemed to be very positive. Do you suggest staying in the counter from a longer term perspective?
Yes, I think the worst is behind now in as far as UPL is concerned. So now we are witnessing already a big rally which is happening in the fertilizer bag, and agri-chemical stocks are also inching up. So ultimately UPL also, we have seen at when the result came, it came down to almost 500 rupees. And from there we have seen continuous upswing in the stock, because the investors are also now getting confidence that last was the worst quarter maybe for UPL, and this quarter onwards recovery is going to take place. So my target for this stock will be 650 maybe in next 6 months.
Quick view. This is a question on Urja Global, and we've got a short-term query on this. The buy price is 22 rupees, 5,000 shares. It was bought in April. Osho, what should you do? Very quick answer.
See, this counter is not doing anything much from the last 3 months. It is hovering around the same zone. So technically, there is no such developments that can be seen on a positive or a negative front. But looking at the consolidation phase near the zone of 20, I expect that one should keep holding this counter with a stop loss of 20 odd levels. And in the coming period, if it surges, then we might see a decent move around the zone of 26 to 28.
Thanks so much, Osho, for getting us that answer. And in fact, unfortunately, we're completely out of time. Ashish as well as Osho, thank you so much for joining in. And viewers, that brings us to the end of this particular edition of Ask Profit. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing it to you from Smriti and myself and the team that put this show together. Thank you so much for watching. Do stay tuned. This is NDTV Profit.
welcome. This is Hot Money. I'm Agam Vakil, and in this show, we take you through all the stocks and themes which are buzzing in trade. But before that, a quick look at how markets are faring. Another quiet day, though the Nifty continues to trade above the mark of 23,500. And as far as the Bank Nifty is concerned, again, marginally in the green. We are seeing some gains coming through for both these key indices, with the Bank Nifty, in fact, advancing by around another half odd percent. Now, if you consider the constituents of the Nifty, well, let's pull that up and take a look at how things are faring. So we do have something like Reliance Industries and HDFC Bank continuing to move higher, and of course Kotak Mahindra Bank to a certain extent also contributing to and M&M, Sun Pharma and Bharti Airtel on the other hand are weighing down on the indices at the moment. Well, of course, moving on when it comes to your broader markets, we're taking a step back, perhaps a little bit of we could say an underperformance here, but